Longtime players are putting Pokémon Sleep to sleep. Is it the game's fault? Is it their fault? Will the newly announced details about expert mode fix this? Or is this the beginning of the end of my favorite Pokemon game? Happy screen time, and thank you for subscribing for Pokemon Sleep Road Tomfoolery. What is going on? Lately, the vibe around the Pokemon Sleep community has shifted. We've seen a lot of posts on the subreddit about players who are feeling burnt out, who are quitting the game, and it's not just the casual players, it's the I've spent a long time on this investing in my Pokemon Premium Pass players who are also canceling Premium Pass. They might still be sticking around, but there's been a lot of shift about just the attitude towards the game lately. But it doesn't seem to be like rage quitting. The vibe is more like, I don't want to play with you anymore kind of thing. So let's have a heart-to-heart right here. Are players hitting a wall, or is the game failing to deliver what it always has? And will expert mode be able to retain the players who are on the verge of quitting their internships at Neroli's lab? People be out here saying the game isn't fun, but like, this is a job. We are sleep researchers. This is not fun. This is serious. But in all seriousness, for real, the question that I want to ask you who is watching the video: why do you keep playing Pokemon Sleep? What keeps you coming back every day? Or what keeps you starting your sleep tracking at night? Because obviously if you track your sleep, you're gonna get on it the next day. But yeah, tell me what you love about this game in the comments. Would love to know. And if anybody who's watching this who did leave or quit or take a break, why did you euthanize your Snorlax? There are several reasons that players have expressed while making their grand exit from the game. The game feels repetitive, the new content isn't exciting, it's too much of a grind, players feeling like they're not being catered to, but only the high-paying players are. And while I was doing this research, I was actually surprised to see multiple posts that are people leaving because of the loading screens, which, like, don't get me wrong, I know loading screens for a long time were a problem, and especially in the very early game, everything was super slow. And for some apps, yeah, this is maybe still slow, but like, it's not unbearably slow. For those people, I'd say go check your internet connection, because I literally have hours of recorded footage of like 3-minute videos of me doing my sleep session every morning, and people are saying it takes them a half an hour. That's not the game. That's your phone. You're doing it on a train or something. I don't know. Sounds like the kind of player who runs every single catch through Rain and X, whether it's something good or not, and then is surprised at the findings. But at the end of the day, my assessment here is that these players are quitting Pokemon Sleep for the same reason players quit any video game. It's not Pokemon Sleep that's inherently different. It's just about what really matters to you in your life, what your priorities are, what sparks joy, if you will. Have you ever had a video game that you once played daily for consecutive days, maybe for weeks, maybe for months, and one day you put that game down and you never picked it back up again? That actually probably applies to a lot of games you've played, like, if we're being honest, and you play a lot of games. But I know for a fact that you've done that at least once, because pretty much everybody who's watching this has done that in a Pokemon game. There was some Pokemon game that you once played daily that you no longer play anymore, and that's why you're playing Pokemon Sleep, is partially for the nostalgia of that game and maybe several of those Pokemon games. And just like your parents who once held you every day and then one day put you down and never picked you back up again, this is just the way life works. Things change. And okay, sorry, that started to feel a little heavy, so we're not gonna go there. Call it burnout, fatigue, boredom. It's just a game, and for some players, the magic is lost. Not for me though, because we're here. Here's the real question. Why do players feel like they need to announce their exit? Do you go and post on the subreddit every time you stop playing a video game? No, you don't. People are doing that because they're heartbroken, because they've put a piece of themselves into this process, because they know that these are real Pokemon finally on the inside of one of these Pokemon games. These are your partners that you are leaving behind. You're trying to justify that breakup with them. No, I actually think it's more that, I mean, people probably feel like it's the sunk cost fallacy. I've been playing this game for so long. How many games have you played daily for like a year? This is the only one on my list, and I'm coming up on 2 years. That's pretty crazy, right? But I think more likely these players who are leaving and feel the need to announce it, it's because they are grateful for the experiences they've had, they are feeling burnt out and they're kind of telling themselves that they need to leave. It's kind of like, write the letter that you're mad at somebody, but don't send it. But these people are sending it because we live in the age of the internet and stuff, so they're just helping themselves break the habit that they once had. Because while one part of their brain wants to move on, the other part of their brain is craving the dopamine hit that comes from a double skill trigger. I think there are another couple factors that these players didn't mention, but that are contributing factors to just where the community is at. A lot of the day one and very early game players are hitting that area bonus cap, and in a game where you can literally go for weeks with nothing worthwhile happening, having that area bonus was like, at least I get this consolation prize. But unfortunately, when you hit the area bonus cap, you just feel like you're literally doing nothing. And I'll be there soon, so I'll let you know if it feels any different. Another factor here, back when you first started playing this game, it's like entering that world of Pokemon. What, you know, like when the new Pokemon games come out, what are the new Pokemon? What are the old ones that are here? Can I get all my favorites in this game from the get-go? You pick up Pokemon Sleep and you're like, this is exciting. I'm seeing all these different Pokemon. And eventually you're like 2 years in and you're like, I'm still seeing the same Pokemon spawns that I was seeing in week 3 of this game. Not to mention the controversy of like Darkrai that's come into the picture. That seems to be very divisive in the community with opinions on him, which is fine. If you want a Darkrai, go and do the Darkrai thing, and if you don't. Like, it's not hard. But also, some of the recent releases have been a bunch of 16 Pipmons, as we call them. The most recent being Mawile and Honchkrow, who have a skill that we're not really quite sure the right way to use yet. There's some grand vision that Devin has that we just don't yet. And for me personally, actually, I haven't been excited about a new Pokemon for a long time that's come to the game. Like, let me just rapid fire through these. Mawile, don't need. I'm investing in a Luxray and a Dragonite. Honchkrow, don't really know how it fits into the game. Feels expensive to hunt. I already have a bunch of things I need to use gold seeds on. Chansey, I already have a Delibird and a Kangaskhan. Invested. Darkrai, go watch the video. Cresselia, Berry Burst requires a lot of investment to use, and it will also need more gold seeds that I'm not willing to spend on the slightly above average Cresselia that I got. Maybe if I had caught a way good one, it would be ranked differently in my investment backlog. Masharna, didn't need because I already had a Meganium for area coverage. Maybe it changes with expert mode. Maybe it doesn't. Clodsire, I had a bias against because of a childhood trauma, but now I have a bias against if I never find one, that it just is ruining my life. Braviary, see Cresselia, although it is easier to hunt. Pawmot, a role I have very well covered for a healer. Alolan Vulpix fills a role that I already have covered with a Walrein. Sneasel, too expensive to hunt and see Alolan Vulpix. Mimikyu, too expensive and see Cresselia. And the last time I was excited about new Pokemon coming to the game was Old Gold Power Plant. So it turns out I'm just a hater. Do I even like this game? Should I even be playing this game? Look, you're not wrong for sticking around and playing Pokemon Sleep if you're enjoying it. You're not wrong for leaving or taking a break if you're not. That's welcome to life. Making choices and stuff. And that's true of any video game, okay? It is. But if you do set it down for a bit, we'll definitely see you back here for Pokemon Sleep 2. Here's another angle on this. Devin knows exactly what's happening. They're tracking the metrics about average daily users. They're tracking metrics about new players joining the game. They're tracking metrics about how long it's been since players have logged in to know if they've left the game. And probably most importantly, they know how many players are paying for the premium pass. And if some players have been turning off the premium pass, making it known, and that inspires other players to turn it off, that's not just a burnout thing in the community, that's a business problem. So the question is there a vocal minority that's leaving? Or is Devin seeing indications that we need to pivot our strategy and get something new and exciting, something to give the players hope, something to change their perspective, something to shift the conversation? Expert mode. And I feel like they released the details on expert mode in the most understated way imaginable. In notes from some random maintenance. Let's look at the facts. No one was expecting to get details about expert mode, or even for it to get a formal name without an actual announcement. Many players don't read the maintenance notes beyond looking at when the maintenance will be and then immediately forgetting. Releasing these details this way makes me think that Devin saw a legitimate decrease in the number of premium passes and or players, and they felt like they needed to do something to retain those who were teetering on the edge. And I think that they wanted to change the community discussion around the game from talks about burning out to talks about a new exciting feature that's coming, because they didn't make a big news announcement about this. They put it at the bottom of maintenance. Again, I mean, tell me in the comments, do you read all the maintenance? Okay, people who are watching YouTube about Pokemon Sleep, you are reading the maintenance notes. I know this because you're obsessed with the game enough to give me the time of day and listen to my thoughts. But I would bet that most players found out about this mode from discussions in the Discord and the subreddits, and then they maybe went back and read it afterwards when they realized there were details. But I think expert mode kind of just came in and was like, oh, suddenly forget about the burnout, now we're talking about expert mode, that's the thing. And they did that strategically, I think, to get the community refocused on the game and on the future of the game instead of on the now, which a lot of people think sucks. But I'm not falling for it. I'm not gonna make free content about expert mode just because I'm totally falling for it. Here's an interesting note. They don't know exactly when this is going to release. They said end of July, early August. That's like a 30-day window. And that makes me think that maybe the event schedule for the summer isn't as set in stone as I would have thought it was. What do I know? It also could be that they're just trying to get all the balancing just right, and it's really just about how many weeks of testing they have, because you know that Devin is already playing expert mode, and that's messed up that we don't get to. Devin's probably got multiple accounts, and he's probably been playing for like 5 years. Probably has some really good ingredient specialists, just saying. So let's talk about expert mode, and will it solve this burnout problem? Will it solve the players leaving problem? And the good news about talking about expert mode is, turns out I am an expert. I'm proud to announce that apparently I've been a Pokemon Sleep expert for a long time, because I hit Master 18 on Greengrass Isle like ages ago. So here's the details. It's a more challenging game mode, and now you have a reason to catch them all, except for Wobbuffet, which is literally still useless. Raising Snorlax gets harder, but the rewards get better. More research experience, more dream shards, more Pokemon candies. This to me seems like a great way to introduce a way for free-to-play players to get silver seeds. That's an opinion. Expert mode will also come with an increased chance of getting shinies, which between expert mode, befriending badges, and the new sleep day, you could stack all of those things to do some serious shiny hunting. So if you have a favorite, get those befriending badges up and get good at the game. And team building is being shaken up. Maybe each week Snorlax will have a main favorite berry and 2 sub favorite berries. Pokemon who match the main favorite berry will get other boosts. I assume it's going to be things like we see in the standard type bonus, or maybe boosting a particular skill. Maybe Wobbuffet will have a chance. I mean, we're seeing specific skill boosts in the event right now. I'm recording this during the Cooking Week, Part 1, aka Volume 1. I assume that the penalties for using a not favorite berry are just going to be the berry strength is diminished. Maybe it's a severe penalty, like it's a third of the strength, but that probably won't stop me from using a Golduck or an Ampharos or any of my ingredient specialists, but that's another reason why it might not just be the berry strength. I don't know. What are you thinking it'll be? Let me know in the comments. So expert mode forces you to rethink your squad. Maybe. It'll all depend on how severe those penalties actually are. Personally, I look at the requirement for Greengrass Master 18 and it's like 2 million strength. And even if they doubled that, I feel like I still could be pretty confident to go hit Master Mode. Well, Expert Mode. Wow, okay. I don't want you guys to think that I'm good at Legend of Zelda, because I can't even beat regular mode. They're also mixing up what Pokemon appear. Now, without knowing all the full details, I could be completely misguided, but I'm doing very little shifting of my strategy right now. to cater to what's coming with expert mode, and I will be working on a team building guide. So if you're not subscribed, make sure that you do subscribe finally to this channel so that you don't miss that one. I've actually been working on my team building guide script for like months now, and we're almost there. They're also mixing up the spawn pool for Greengrass Isle, which hopefully means we see better spawn rates for some of the 16 pip mons, but I actually just think it means that there's going to be a slightly increased rate of seeing the Lapis exclusives as well as the old Go Power Plant exclusives. I think that's probably all that means when they say things that don't normally appear on Greengrass. Ooh, but there could be legendary incenses in those rewards too. I don't know, maybe the rewards will actually be super awesome and it will be worth going for expert mode even if you can't hit super high ranks in there. I don't know, but stick around for the end of the video because I'm going to tell you my approach to expert mode in as much detail as I can at this point. You won't be able to just jump into expert mode. You are going to have to hit Master 18 on Greengrass Isle and purchase an expert mode ticket, or an expert ticket, or who knows what the final name will be, or if it will be translated the same as expert mode, because maybe challenging mode was meant to be translated as expert mode already. Certainly there will be expert tickets in the regular exchange. They're not going to make it a premium feature as some players have been fretting about, but I wouldn't be surprised to see one in the regular exchange and one in the premium exchange so that premium players could get one at a discount and or get two if they felt like it was worth their sleep points, which are so limited in this game that I really hope that these tickets are not that expensive, and if they are, the rewards on the other side of those have to be really compelling, especially since we're rolling the dice in a way on getting those rewards with the random berries. And I mean, they call it expert mode, right? But experts need dream shards, okay? Honestly, overall, I'm hopeful. I think it sounds promising. I'm excited about it, but I also wasn't on the edge of leaving the game. So here's that question: is expert mode going to fix everything? Definitely not. It's the same game, it's just harder. Expert mode is definitely a retention play, but ultimately I think it retains the players who were already planning on staying. It might give some people who canceled the premium pass a reason to feel like they need to get back in and catch more Pokemon that they were passing up before because the meta didn't require them, and maybe not changing my strategy drastically at this point is a bad idea. But I think that the players who are already playing with highly rotated teams are going to feel like expert mode feels pretty natural. That's an opinion, we'll see. And if the penalties in expert mode are harsh enough that it forces you to use Pokemon that you have underinvested or that you just don't want to be using, it might feel more like a penalty than, hey, I'm an expert at this game. I feel like if you're somebody who's into the game enough that you're watching YouTube content about it, you probably are going to do fine at expert mode because you think about this game more than the average player and you hear perspectives that other players don't hear. So here's my advice and strategy about expert mode. Buy expert tickets, but unless you're feeling super confident about hitting expert mode, watch and wait. I would assume that expert mode tickets don't expire and you can buy them and save them and see what experience other players are having with expert mode before you decide if you want to jump in or not. I actually do this basically every week when they release a new Pokemon. This is the advantage of living in a later time zone. Go look at what's happened on the Discord. Find out if Mawile is an ingredient specialist before you decide if you want to hunt it and before you decide where you want to go. And it's the same thing with expert mode, but you might have to like wait a week, or I mean, go check the data mine, see if the rewards are going to be worth it, even if you don't do well, even if you roll the worst possible berries you could get. And look at what those worst possible combinations are for your teams and go start filling those gaps in. But don't feel like you have to fill every role all at once, because I don't think the penalties are going to be that bad. Again, that's my take, that's my opinion, but go watch some of the other YouTubers who will surely jump right in. Me, unless I get a strong signal the Sunday night before it's available, I'm a watcher and waiter, okay? I didn't even go to Lapis Lakeside for like several weeks after it was launched, and I'm doing fine in the game, okay? Didn't lose out on anything. It's just even further delayed gratification, if you will. So yeah, if I got rambly there, in summary, go buy the tickets, but don't feel like you have to use them until you're ready. Let's do this again sometime. Happy researching.